Vision is there for you to read, but it's about a Europe committed to linguistic and cultural diversity, and where we really recognise the important contribution that quality language education can make to achieving that vision. 2016 marks the end of the first year of our current programme, and it's a programme entitled Languages at the Heart of Learning. Thank you, Adelina. And to put this another way, we know that there can be no learning without languages, be that in nursery, in school, in the world of work, university. And our approach is very much a holistic one, a learner-centred one, where all the languages in the learner's repertoire, home languages, regional languages, foreign second languages, are present. And for us, the image of the heart is important. We know that languages are not just neutral academic subjects, but they're very closely linked to our identities. It's about hearts as well as minds. And when it comes to research, we also know that we learn best when all the languages we bring to the learning environment are recognised, valued and drawn upon. Our current programme has two key strands, development and mediation. And when we talk about development, we're looking for innovative solutions to current challenges through projects and through think tanks. When we talk about mediation, which we know is a word that is interpreted in many different ways, but for us it's not just about dissemination. It's about adapting the tools and the resources we produce to meet the specific needs in different member states, in different local and regional contexts. But you also see under mediation that we have activities for a wider public. For example, the event here today. This is where we invite people to discuss an important theme. And you can see from the number of people here that it's clearly very topical. So what made us feel that such a colloquium was a good idea? Since the publication by the Council of Europe of both the Common European Framework and its complementary tool, the European Language Portfolio, in 2001, the ECML has organised a range of projects and activities to support the successful implementation of these European tools. These include, for example, the creation of resources to adapt the CEFR descriptors in the context of younger learners, or the development of CEFR-based descriptors for the language of schooling in the two subject areas, mathematics and history, or, to mention another project, a guide with activities to encourage the culture of evaluation amongst professionals. And these are just one or two examples of our resources in this area. Could you click on the logo? For those of you who wish to find your way around, just to show you that our website is thematically organised. So you don't need to remember the name of the project or the year. You simply go in by the theme at the top and you will find all of the relevant resources. In addition to projects which then produce resources, we also offer training and consultancy. And that is where the experts who have developed these resources then take them into member states and work with experts on the ground to adapt them to local contexts. In the area of evaluation and assessment, we have the training and consultancy activity RELANG, Relating Language Curricula, Tests and Examinations to the CEFR. And thanks to the very generous support of the European Commission, who are also, by the way, supporting today's event, we are now in our fourth year of offering this service to member states, both of the ECML and of the wider European Union. You will hear more about the history of this project and this cooperation, so I'm not going to go into the details now. But it is precisely from the experience and the learning that has taken place as a result of these RELANG workshops that the idea for this colloquium was born. We wanted to share this experience as widely as possible, the successes as well as the challenges, and to hear the views of other experts in the field. Not only the speakers on today's programme, but you, the participants, many of whom are working in the field of testing and assessment. And I'm sure you have a lot to contribute to the discussions because that's the philosophy of the ECML, is sharing and learning from one another. And I would like to express my gratitude to all the speakers who have come here today to share their knowledge and expertise with us. The ECML provides a platform for experts to come together, experts from across Europe and beyond, and they do so as independent experts, drawing on their various professional experiences with the willingness to share this wider across Europe. And I would also like to express my gratitude to Professor Bernd Ruschow, who has kindly offered to moderate the event. I don't think you quite know what you've let yourself in for, Bernd, but don't worry.
You made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
There you go. But we do want this to be a dynamic event. The word, of course, colloquium, comes from the Latin loqui, to speak. And we really want you to speak, to engage with the speakers, to question them. And after each slot, there will be an opportunity for questions and answers. You may have noticed on the programme that session 4 is an open question and answer session. There are papers around the room. Adelina, where are they? For you to write down your questions. So as questions come into your head, write them down, and then we can gather these together for that final session. But please feel free to question at any point in the programme. 2016 marks the 15th anniversary of the publication of the CEFR. And of course, 2001 was a very important year, the European Year of Languages, a year when language education was really in the spotlight. And the purpose of today is to appreciate all that's been achieved since then and identify the remaining challenges and perhaps together propose ways forward, ways in which these challenges can be addressed. So I'm just going to set the scene by winding the clock back to 2 specific moments in the history of the CEFR. The first one, 10 years before its actual publication, on the occasion of the Rüschlikon Symposium in 1991, and the second one, 7 years after, when Recommendation 2008 of the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe was published. My aim is not to look at either of these historical moments in detail, but to use them to remind ourselves of some of the key aspirations related to the CEFR. You'll see that there are specific questions which the colloquium wishes to address. They're on the wall for everyone to see. And I don't want to add to the challenge we've set ourselves today, but just to finish off this part of my introduction by leaving some broader questions hanging in the air for you to think about. At the symposium in Rüschlikon in 91, it was agreed that the common European framework should be comprehensive, able to accommodate the widest variety of objectives and methods, transparent, allowing practitioners to give full information in intelligible language, and coherent, free from internal contradictions. It says such a framework should be useful both as a common basis for the exchange of information among practitioners and as a basis for critical reflection by practitioners on their current practice and the options open to them. I think it's worth keeping these original aspirations in mind as we look back in order to move forward. Have they been realised? If not, why not? And are these aims still, in fact, pertinent today? And what about then the Committee of Ministers' recommendation, which emphasises the link between the use of the CEFR and the promotion of plurilingualism? I'm just going to read you out one element from that recommendation. National, regional and local education authorities are invited to provide guidance for the diversification of language learning within education systems in order to maintain and develop plurilingualism among citizens of Europe as a means of knowledge building and skills development, with a view to enhancing social cohesion and intercultural understanding, to adopt a learner-focused, action-oriented, competence-based approach, take into consideration the social and cultural dimensions of language learning, consider and treat each language in the curriculum not in isolation, but as part of a coherent plurilingual education. So what is that plurilingual goal? It's expressed in the framework in the following way. It talks about the plurilingual ideal, to develop a linguistic repertoire to which all knowledge and experience of language contributes and in which languages interrelate and interact. As we exchange views today, let us ask ourselves how far we have come in realising the plurilingual ideal.